Hello and welcome to the Career Changers. Silver, gold, and gemstones. Are they all just for beauty? Understanding the effect of metals and crystals we are wearing in our day-to-day lives can be very important for the understanding of our energy flow. Today, we are going to discuss this topic and more with our guest, Donna Wallace, healer and founder of the House of Orion. Her mission is to help people discover their perfect soulmate stone. These gemstones are intuitively chosen to light up people's energy fields. Donna is also a career changer. She had a career as an HR specialist and was through the power of intuition that she discovered a new path. Today, we are going to inspire you with her career change journey, how she used intuition to find her life purpose, and how gemstones can light up your energy field. Welcome, Donna. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So let's start with your background. How did you start your professional life, or better, what was your first job?
My first job was a pizza delivery driver.
Oh,
My first part-time job, which is really quite funny, actually.
how old were you?
I must have just had my license. Actually, maybe I must have had a job before that. I worked in plant nurseries actually before that. So, yeah, I studied horticulture at university, and went into that science field because I wasn't sure what else to do, and my parents wanted me to go to university. And then I went on to do things that were completely unrelated to that.
And what was your dream job when you were a child?
My dream job was to be either a doctor or a rock star.
Mm. So what happened instead? How did you progress in your career, in your life?
I was very lost for quite a long time, and I went traveling and I did some work while I was traveling around Australia. And then I just came back and I found different admin jobs. Admin jobs led me into executive assistant jobs, which then led me into a HR position in a HR for one of our big four banks here in Australia. So that position was really amazing, and I had incredible mentors as my managers in that organization who gave me lots of development opportunities. So I actually ended up in a very specialized HR role in employee relations, a senior employee relations advisor, coaching senior managers in our organization and supporting them to deal with all of the problem behavioral people kind of issues, as you know, which is what HR is, right? But that particular role was interesting because I was working in a team of lawyers, and so there was a mixture of HR professionals and lawyers, and I had zero qualifications in that industry.
Mm.
So it was all learnt on the job, and yeah, which was really quite something actually when I look back and think about it now. But I was just really lucky in terms of I had people that saw the value that I could contribute, and yeah, maximized that.
That's really interesting. And it's common that we have career that we enjoy for a certain time of our life, and then something shift and change. So
Yes.
what was the powerful turning point for you that opened that path for a surprising new business based on your intuition?
I've had a couple of those, to be honest, Elisa. So I had the first turning point for me was when my daughter was born. I already had a son, and when she was born, I had this feeling like I had to be everything that I could be to demonstrate that she can live out her dreams. You know, not just me telling her or both of my children, you can be anything that you want to be, you can do anything that you want to be. Actually, to have a role model who was living out their dreams. And I just had this calling, like this uprising within me, that I just had such a strong feeling that she wanted me to be everything that I could be. And for many years, I'd been doing energy healing work since I was about 16 and 16, 17. So many, many many decades now of doing that work. And I always dreamed that I could do that work as my sole income rather than having it as a hobby or a side hustle business. And when she was born, it was this impetus of it's now or never. I need to give this a real go and see what happens. It's if I don't do it now, I just knew that I wouldn't, that was like my window of opportunity then,
Mm. And
which
what
is
was
actually quite crazy with a newborn child who wasn't sleeping very much.
Yeah, it is. But I think also that probably whether it's children or if we are mentoring someone younger, that really act as a mirror towards us because we say we want to teach something, but then we realize that how how can we teach something if we don't practice, what we are
Exactly.
teaching? So I
Yeah.
think that's really powerful, probably moment, whether it's having children or someone that we want to mentor. So what were some of the biggest challenges you faced when started contemplating leaving the HR industry, and how did you overcome them?
I had so many challenges, so many of my own internal challenges. I didn't know whether I could do it. I didn't know if I was able to. I didn't know whether I was able to learn the skill sets that I needed to. My biggest challenge, like, how do I start a business and what does that look like in Australia? And and sales and marketing, how do I learn how to be great at sales and marketing? And that was a very big challenge for a long time. And honestly, I paid people to teach me. So
Mm,
I've had business coaches who've taught me. And then along the way, and it continually happens, right? Where I find an area within my business or within my service offering that I'm like, well, actually, it's more so from the running the business perspective that has been the biggest challenges for me, and then my internal belief system around that.
mm. Can you share some of the most valuable lessons you have learned during the years of trials and error as you search for your new path? I mean, you were already aware of what you like, but um,
Yeah. I was lucky in terms of I already knew what I wanted to do, so I didn't have that question mark. But the biggest thing that I can share is that you can learn anything. Like we can learn anything as business owners, as entrepreneurs, we can actually learn anything. Even if we think we're terrible at it, maybe especially if we're terrible at it, we can learn how to be sales and marketing experts. We can learn how to do social media. We can figure out the accounting side of our business. We can figure out, exactly what our niche is or niches are and what our unique offering is to the world. Like we can figure all of that out. It's just a matter of learning it and going, piece by piece, figuring out how to do each of those parts of your business. It's like any other business, but I think for some reason, entrepreneurs find it a little bit more challenging or harder because it's about them. But it's like any other bricks and mortar business, if it's a plant nursery down the end, the end of the road. Like it's the same thing. They need to figure out sales and marketing. They need to figure out, staff or not staff or how they're going to run their business. And I believe that we can learn anything.
yeah, definitely. So let's talk
Yeah.
about the power of intuition. Intuition was something that determined then your path, and we want to enlighten our listeners as well on this. So, how can we discover the truth about who we are as soulful, unique beings on this planet?
I really believe that how we discover who we truly are is by following our intuition, is by listening to that little whisper that we have, or that urge, or that gut feeling. And it might seem like a crazy idea, whatever that intuitive nudge is for you. It might seem crazy, it might seem like it doesn't make any sense, but if you just follow that one step after another, after another, after another, it takes you to the most magical places. And that's what I found. I found my intuition has taken me to move my family from the western suburbs of Melbourne down to the beach. It's had me build houses, sell houses, start a second business, start my first business, leave my HR career, start a second business as well, and have that be running simultaneously. My intuition has taken me to the most incredible places and things that I would never have thought of myself, you know? There is an incredible, like, higher intelligence that operates through us.
So, what are some simple steps that listeners can take to begin to ride the magical carpet of life and follow their intuition?
I think it is that. I think it is taking one step, following your intuition, one step at a time, but it's also being willing to be a little bit different. It's being willing to not tread the same path as other people. You need to be willing to follow your own heart and really become yourself. And whatever that means, to become your authentic, true self, that's a journey in and of itself, isn't it? But to really move onto that magical carpet ride of life, I feel like is becoming who you truly are and following your intuition one step at a time.
Mm. And what are the biggest mistake that people make when learning to trust their intuition? Because sometimes, I mean, it's a learning process, not something that everyone knows how to do immediately.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. I think that we're all intuitive and we can all learn it just like we can learn anything else. But the biggest mistake that I find that people make is when something comes through intuitively without even almost like the next split second, their mind jumps in and says, that's not right. That can't be right. Is that just my mind thinking that? Is that what I want, or is that my intuition? And then second guessing themselves. So my biggest tip is follow the first thing that comes through. That first feeling, that first thought, that first hearing whatever the message is, however your intuition comes through, trust that first thing that comes through. The second thing that comes through is usually your mind or your ego or that judgment and judging and assessing whether that's actually real or not.
Mm. And in your opinion, what is the difference between fear and intuition?
I think there's a really big difference between fear and intuition. Intuition comes from a place, they come from the two different places. So we know what fear is, yes. I think maybe the question is more about where does intuition come from? It comes from a place that is sometimes feels like it's out of the blue. It can come through our heart space. It can come through our different parts of our body, but our body can definitely share our intuition, or like messages can come through our body. We know when something feels right or something feels off. And that's what I mean by body intuition. But what is the difference between intuition and fear? Well, you can have both. You can be following your intuition and still be scared, because
Yeah.
that happens, right? And often it does happen. I think that some people think, oh, if it's the right course of action, I won't be scared. Oh, no, no, no. That's the funny thing about it. You might be scared. And I've been scared so many times when I've gone to follow my intuition, because it seems like so strange or something out of the norm, or something quite different, or something that takes me out of my comfort zone. And so fear is, fear is the worries and the concerns, isn't it? Have I answered your question?
Yeah, I think it came up for me because I think that when I think about intuition, I guess there is fear because intuition is not rational. So, for example, if something comes up, there is a fear of, do I do that? Or I'm just, someone says that be brave or be stupid, they may be similar because you don't know what is the outcome. So, I guess it's about
Yes.
how do I say yes to something, and I just trust the process.
That is a really important thing. Like, that is such a good point. Yeah, often we don't know what the outcome is. we really don't know what the outcome is going to be when we follow our intuition. And that's what I'm saying. Once you start doing it and you see how well it works out for you, then you do move on to the magical carpet ride of life because it becomes so much more fun. And it's our heads that gets in the way, right? It's our fears that come up for us when we go to follow our intuition. And what are we actually scared of? I think it would be a deeper inquiry about what are you scared of in that particular situation. There can be many things that we can be scared of when we follow our intuition. It's actually quite uncomfortable. I was talking about this with one of my clients the other day, like it's a brave path to follow. It's a very brave and courageous path to follow.
Yeah, I also think that there's two different feelings. They're located in different parts of the body. Generally, I mean, at least for me, I associate fear is a lot of mind, um, like like I feel like someone is chatting into my mind and say no this, no this, no that, and like
Yeah.
intuition is something more like related, like in my belly or something, maybe close to my heart, and it feels more like a flow. um so yeah.
Yes. I think that what can happen when intuition comes through is there's a feeling of rightness. Like not
Mhm.
like it's the right thing to do, like more like it's aligned. And when something feels aligned, you get like a settled feeling in your tummy with that. Your body feels like kind of there's a sense of calm that's underneath. You might be scared at the same time, or you might be excited at the same time. That's fine. But there's a sense of being settled or calm in your body when it's an intuitive direction.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So let's talk now about the power of gemstones. I'm really curious about this topic. We never talk about this. So I'm happy that you are here and we can talk about this. How can we light up our energy field with the power of gemstones? So how can jewelry amplify our energy field and life?
hmm Maybe could I take a step back and just
Yeah,
share like how that fits into my career path journey?
definitely. Yes.
Yeah, so 3 years ago during the pandemic here, yeah, I mean it was worldwide, wasn't it? But during that time, I had another business idea drop in through my intuition, and that was to create jewelry that activates people's energetically, like activates your energy field, so your aura. So I was given this complete like business idea and I was really scared about it because I didn't know anything about it. And it was a whole nother business to learn and to figure out how to bring into reality. And that is what I've done. So how can gemstones energetically activate you or be used as a power source? They can be. So gemstones speak to me. I intuitively work with gemstones. I listen to them. I intuitively choose them for my customers, and I only choose the ones that could really amplify their energetic field. So, what happens as part of that process is I have people connect with their soul, their core essence, in a way that they probably never have before. And then we intuitively choose gemstones that match that vibration, that match that energy, that match that emotion, that matches what their soul wants them to blossom into. And so we choose gemstones that are a color match to what their soul is expressing. And it is an amazing experience. I actually think this is old wine in new bottles. I think this is what we did in Atlantis many civilizations ago. For anyone who is interested in all of that, I think that's what we are doing. I think we are using gemstones. Um, I've been shown by spirit, taught how to activate gemstones energetically and attune them to a person's energy field to help them like really bring out the best in them and to enhance their life. So, gemstones, not all, definitely not all, but some can be programmed in a particular way to really enhance your life and to, yeah, turn your light on.
Mm. So what does it mean for someone to find their soulmate stone?
Well, you know how I said I intuitively choose gemstones for people? When I bring that selection of gemstones to people, whether it's on Zoom or in person, doesn't matter. I show people and I get them to really feel it. And then, do you know what they say to me? Like, oh, that one's nice, Donna. Oh, maybe that one. I like that one. Maybe not. Maybe this one. And then they find, like, then I give them the stone and they're like, oh. What's that?
Oh,
And they have an instant reaction usually. Like there is, sometimes they cry, sometimes they smile, sometimes they stop talking and go really quiet. Sometimes they're like, often people say to me, I'm feeling something with this. And there's this instant soul recognition. It is like meeting a soulmate. People know and they have this instant connection with these stones. And it's phenomenal to watch, actually. It's really amazing. Mm.
wow. So how do different types of gemstones affect our energy in different ways?
So I think that you know how lots of people talk about get a rose quartz crystal for love or get a clear quartz crystal for clarity, or I don't work in that way. I think that generally speaking, some types of gemstones tend to do similar things for people, but actually when you listen to a unique, like an individual gemstone, they're as individual as you and I. You can't categorize them. You can't categorize what they're meant to do for people. You have to listen to that individual gemstone and see, is that a match for what that person's soul wants? Um, yeah, so different gemstones have different powers, if you like, different gifts. And it's also very individual, just like you and I are very individual.
Mm. And so, do you have any practical tips for incorporating gemstones into our daily lives to enhance our energy?
I would say really just tune in, like ask for guidance, ask for what color, ask for what piece of jewelry you are to wear that day. And really like put everything that you know in your mind aside and just feel your way through the process. Like what would actually make me feel better today?
Mhm. So
Yeah.
when we talk about energy, that can be quite a sensitive topic because it's something that we don't see. The people that believe in it, they may feel it. Some people may not believe in that at all. Are there any precaution or consideration people should keep in mind when working with gemstones for energy purposes?
Generally speaking, you mean outside of my jewelry?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think that I see the energy, and you've just said some people don't believe in energy, but that's not my world. I talk in energy, in the language of energy and color. I see some people that have got crystals, piles of crystals in their homes, and to me, it just looks like they're gathering rocks. There's no energy, there's no soul, there's no vibration. Like, what is the purpose of it? It's okay if you want to collect rocks if they're pretty, you know? Does that bring you joy? I hope so. But I would be like, what you need to look for is the feeling, is the vibration, is the experience. How does it when you hold a gemstone, when you hold a crystal, how does it actually make you feel? Does it do anything to you? Does it not do, like, does it help you in any way? Does it drain your energy? Does it enhance your life or like your experience at all? And I don't think people do that very much. I think there's a lot of people out there buying crystals and not really tuning into how it makes them feel. And so that's what I would avoid. I would avoid buying them for the sake of it, and I would like be really selective
Mhm.
and feel your way through it.
So, is there any importance of in intention setting when using gemstone for energy work?
Yeah, of course. Right?
Mm.
Any energy work, you want to have some sort of intention around it, I would say. And then absolutely, when you hear me talk about my process with creating jewelry for people's souls, there's an intention there, right? The intention is to activate your energy field. The intention is for your soul essence to shine really brightly. The intention is for you to become all of who you truly are, and for all of your gifts to be, come into full blossom, into full bloom. And so our intentions make a big difference.
Mm. So for the people that are not believer in energy, or maybe even for the other ones, are there any scientific studies or evidence supporting the use of gemstones for influencing energy fields? I mean, I know you mentioned earlier Atlantis, I think. Maybe there are books or resources that can be read about it.
That there are books on Atlantis for sure. And I'm sure there are scientific studies done on gemstones. I haven't delved into it, to be really honest with you. I haven't delved into that. And do you know why? I tend to not research things that I pursue, which sounds really crazy, but actually I prefer to learn by experience. So I don't read about this gemstone means that thing, and this is how this is how you're meant to do a crystal grid, or this is how you're meant to work with gemstones. I don't read any of that. I get taught by spirit, and they show me what to do, and I learn by working with my customers. My customers are my greatest teachers, along with spirit, and so I get guided via my intuition every step of the way. So to be honest, I can't answer your question very well.
No, I think it's okay. Everyone has their own approach. So it doesn't really matter. So we often forget how each of us, with our choices, can have a positive impact in the world. How do you feel through your work you're making the world a better place?
I do feel like I'm making the world a better place. I do it in two ways. I do it with my energy and emotional healing work, and I can see the difference in my clients straight immediately, and then I can see the cumulative effects in their life. And then through my jewelry business, it works on an individual level for my customers, but then their rings. And so I've talked to you a little bit about their lives are enhanced and their experience on this planet is enhanced. And that is having the most incredible ripple effects with my customers too. I'm watching that play out now. I've had the business for 3.5 years or 4 years now, 3 years. And and then so on a personal level, they have immediate effects, and then again cumulative effects. And then on a global level, my aim is to create the world's largest crystal grid using our jewelry. And that crystal grid is programmed to support the ascension, the growth, the evolution of Mother Earth, but also all of her inhabitants. So we are doing work on an individual scale, but also on a big, broad community scale too. So how do I feel that I'm making a difference? I do. I just know I am. I can see it in my customers. I can see it in how happy they are. I can see it in how relaxed they are. And I can see it because I can see their energy field as well.
So we're reaching the end of this episode. We have a few more questions. First of all, based on your experience, what advice would you give to anyone during their journey to self-realization?
Trust yourself. Like stop believing other people more than yourself. Like listen to your intuition more than you listen to what other people tell you. And that will always guide you on on your path, not someone else's.
Mm. And really, the last question that we ask to all of our guests, if you could give yourself a piece of advice, what would you say to your younger self?
Oh, your life is going to get so much better than you could have ever imagined. And you don't need to worry about it. It's just going to be amazing. And you're going to do it. Like you're the one who's going to create the most amazing life. And you just won't believe how happy you'll be.
That's so nice. Well, thank you, Donna, so much for joining us today and sharing your inspirational career story and wisdom with our listeners.
Thank you so much for having me.
And the last message for our listeners, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Please leave a review if you enjoyed this episode. and tune in next week for a new inspirational episode of the Career Changers. Thank you.